Hey everyone, Pesmori here and welcome to Tyrion Cuthbert, Attorney of the Arcane. Rion! Who's Rion? Tyrion! Oh. What? 5 more minutes. Haven't seen this in a long time. Not since episode 1, and a little bit of it in last episode, but... okay, yeah. Tyrion, I'm so sorry! I should have listened to you! I should have never left him alone! Left you alone with him! Hey, it's okay. Tears are streaming down her eyes. She was clearly worried about you. You try your best to comfort her as you look around the room. What happened? How long were you out? As you look around, you see several other people with you. Commander White is leading a group of knights. They all have the weapons drawn and pointed at someone. Prosecutor Steelwind. Okay. Commander, I understand your position, but there has to be another explanation. Look, Your Majesty, I get where you're coming from. But from what the witnesses told us, it has to be a case of mage blight. You look around the room and see a pool of blood at the end of one of the tables. Celeste? Where's Pierce? Tyrion! I don't know how to tell you this, kid, but he's dead. What? We're honestly as surprised as you are. We're honestly surprised you're okay. But who? You look, yeah, her. Wait a minute. You think Steelwind did this? It wasn't just Lord Pierce, Mr. Cuthbert. We also found the bodies of Lloyd and Sybil. Not to mention a bunch of the Kingsguard have gone comatose. Comatose? I don't want to believe it, but several people saw Steelwind acting off at one of the scenes of each of the murders. We also found her unconscious here, and Pierce's body was lying next to her. No, it wasn't her. I saw Beatrice before I passed out. She was the one that knocked us out. Beatrice? Hey. Come on. Hey. You're scaring me, man. What the hell's going on? Commander White, you need to put me in a holding cell. It needs to be one with an anti-magic field. What? I'm a danger to everyone here. We need to go now. What are you talking about? Now is not the time. Do it, Commander. Right. You watch as the Inquisition arrest Steelwind and escort her out of the room. Damn it. What happened? I know you have many questions, Mr. Cuthbert, but we should make sure you're okay. Yeah, there's a necromancy in the nave. They have a point. You have no idea what happened while you were asleep. You follow their suggestion, but not before making a note on the current time. It's 3:12 p.m. Good to know. Nothing seems to be out of the ordinary except... What? What's wrong with him? Let me finish. There seems to be a trace of necromancy on you, Mr. Cuthbert. Necromancy? It's probably nothing. Did your assistants cast any spells on you? Oh, right! I used healing magic on him when I found him unconscious. I expected as much, but it never hurts to make sure. Anyways, nothing seems to be out of the ordinary. You're quite healthy. Not mentally, though. You should be fine to go about your business, but speak to me again if you experience anything out of the ordinary. Thank you, Lord Lazaric Asclepius? Asclepius, yes, of Asclepius house, yes. And there's no need for thanks. My apprentice apparently owes you a lot. Huh? Apprentice? Wallace Nightgrave? Oh right! Steelwind did mention that she introduced you to. Speaking of Steelwind, I find it really hard to believe she did this. Mr. Cuthbert, Mage Blight isn't exactly a benign condition. I don't know what that means, but moving on. When it takes hold of a mage, it doesn't matter what kind of person they are. Violent behavior is always a result of the delirium that puts them in. Whatever. It's unfortunate, but mages have to be held responsible when cases like this happen. Unless someone is framing her. Tyrion, I fought her! Huh? Do you remember back then when we heard weird sounds? I went to see what was going on. I saw her outside, and the guards there were all unconscious. Yeah, that. Can't pronounce that word properly. I don't know why. I tried to ask her what was going on, but she didn't say anything. She just attacked. What was her emotional state like? Oh, well, she was pretty cold and emotionless. It's almost like she was sleepwalking. That's actually pretty strange. What do you mean? When someone's affected by Mage Blight, they enter a state of extreme psychosis. Sounds a lot like cyberpsychosis from Cyberpunk Edgerunners. Psychotic episodes like that raise the affected mage's paranoia to ridiculous levels. Ha! To raise my paranoia to ridiculous levels, all you have to do is put me in a line, okay? And then after I finish, after I get my change, then all the people behind me have to do is stand there as I put the change in my wallet. That's how you get my paranoia levels to ridiculous levels. That's why these cases almost always end up in violence, which breeds violence. If she was affected by Mage Blight, she shouldn't have looked anywhere near as calm as you're describing. Huh. You might be onto something, Mr. Cuthbert. If what you're saying is true, there has to be more to this. You're planning to defend her, aren't you? At the very least, we need to find out what actually happened. I feel like there's more to this than meets the eye. But you saw her, right? Yeah. She wanted them to arrest her. Probably she might be into handcuffs, you never know. Take notes, Aster. Right. It's as if she thought she was a danger to others. Regardless of what actually happened, she clearly believes she was responsible for this. But there was no way she'd do something like this. Something else is happening here, and you will get to the bottom of this. You're not sure where each of the murders occurred, but the Inquisition should be able to tell you more about this. You also need to speak with Steelwind. If she was really affected by Mage Blight, she would be able to remember what may have caused it. But anyways, the prayer room is the room you're most familiar with. You'll probably want to start there. Are you sure you're okay? Yeah, I'm only a little drowsy. You shouldn't push yourself if you're tired. I'm sure the King's Guard are fully capable of investigating what happened. She has a point, but considering who the victims were, whoever orchestrated this must be high on the political hierarchy. I mean, more like high on the, you know, natural, on the hierarchy of nature, I guess. I don't know how to say it, but yeah. Probably the demon hierarchy, yeah. Any of the nobles could have done this. The only person you can trust now is Celeste. Hey, are you okay? What do you mean? You've been a little tense since the murders. You tried to lighten the mood a bit. Were you worried about me? I was! When I saw you lying next to Pierce's body, I thought you were... yeah, way to lighten the mood, Tyrion. Good job. Sorry. I didn't mean to worry you that much. But I'm okay now. I'm not hurt. Yeah, I know. I know Celeste would never do something like this. But I saw her. Even if she wasn't her usual self, her attacks were definitely real. I don't know what to believe anymore. All the more reason for us to get to the bottom of this. I can't believe after everything he did, Pierce is just... gone. I'm sorry we couldn't get the answers you're looking for. Hopefully something else turns up. Honestly, I don't care about that anymore. I'm just glad you're alive and safe. That's why she's best girl. You arrive at the prayer room. It's now swarming with knights from the Inquisition that might be Spanish. You find yourself staring at the chalk outline where Pierce's body once was. Not a great place to die. You can't help but feel a little uneasy. You've been to plenty of crime scenes before, but even if you were unconscious, you were here when the murder happened. It's a little unnerving, knowing how close you came to death. Are you okay? Yeah. But now's not the time for an existential crisis. Steven's future counts on you figuring out what happened. You still don't know what happened after you fell unconscious. The Inquisition believes Steelwind broke into this room, knocked you out, and killed Pierce. Why would she need to knock Pierce out and then kill him? Why? I mean... whatever. But you remember it clearly. You saw Beatrice before you lost consciousness. There was more at play here than you realize. Celeste also fought Beatrice after Beatrice knocked you out. Wait, fought Steelwind. Yeah, whatever. Perhaps she can tell you more about how she was acting. Looks like he was sitting against the altar when he died. The blood stain seems to imply the fatal wound came from his chest. An autopsy would really be helpful here. Yeah. They look nice. Yes, very nice. Oh, God, that's a lot of colors. There are traces of conjuration magic. That must be the sleep spell. There's a trace of transmutation here. It's all over the area around his body. Interesting. Did the murderer wound him using a transmutation spell? Yeah, necromancy. It's probably when I tried to heal you. Let's review what happened. Before Beatrice knocked me out, we heard a commotion outside and you went to investigate. Can you tell me more about your fight with Steelwind? What was she like? Well, she wasn't her usual self. It's like she was in a kind of a daze. I noticed even before she attacked me. Something was wrong with her. Oh yeah, and she didn't even respond to me when I tried to talk to her. It's like she didn't even recognize me. But from what Lord Asclepius said, she should have been acting more erratically if she was affected by mage blight. It's possible you thought someone disguised as her. I guess that's possible. But whoever they are, the magic was still extremely powerful. And several members of the Four Pillars families were assembled there. It could have been one of them. We should speak with Commander White when we get the chance. The Grand Cathedral was closed from the public for whatever was happening here. They probably have a list of everyone who was present when the murders happened. This means whoever did this was one of the nobles that was here today, sure. A noble. Yeah. Beatrice can cast invisibility, so I doubt she'd let you see her. But did you see her at any point while you were fighting? Celeste? Sorry, I don't know. I was too focused on staying alive. I've actually been meaning to ask you about that. Aren't you really strong? I've never seen you break a sweat in a fight before. Well, she was really tough. It was terrifying, honestly. It was mainly her magic. I never fought someone with spells that powerful before. She didn't hurt you, right? No, but it got pretty close. I think she realized that she couldn't beat me, so she just ran past me into the prayer room. So her real target was Pierce. But why? Did you see the moment she murdered Pierce? No, when I arrived at the prayer room, I saw you and Steelwind unconscious on the ground. And Pierce was already dead. And I'm assuming you didn't see Beatrice? No, she wasn't there when I arrived. How did she leave the prayer room without Celeste noticing? Did she turn herself invisible? We showed up at the prayer room at 1:50 p.m. We interrogated Pierce for about half an hour. What? Half an hour? Are you kidding? Half an hour? It didn't feel like half an hour to me. It felt like what? 2 minutes, tops. Maybe 10. That's when we heard a commotion outside and you went to investigate it. Right. And I think Beatrice knocked me and Pierce out 10 minutes after that. How long? Okay, the fight I understand. How long did you fight Steelwind before she pushed past you? We definitely fought for a while. Must have been at least 20 minutes. After that, she gave up on fighting me and ran into the prayer room. Which means that Beatrice somehow got into the room during your fight. That discounts my theory of her disguising herself as Steelwind. You regained consciousness at 3:12. That means you were knocked out for more than 40 minutes. Damn, what a dream. There were still a lot of unknowns about what happened. You'll need all the pieces if you want to solve this puzzle together. Anyways, okay, yeah. You should move and take a closer look at the other crime scenes. You retrace your footsteps and find the common room. This was the last place you saw Lloyd and Sybil before everything happened. Whew! Looks like a fire happened in here. Look around and see that the room has been entirely scorched. Not entirely, but mostly, yeah. You can still smell the scent of burnt cloth and flesh in the air. What happened? Was it some kind of fire? Yeah, I think the perp lit a fire using magic. As you enter the room, Commander White approaches you. He seems to be accompanied by the typical Legion of Knights. Commander White. Hey kid, you're investigating what happened too? Something like that. We just want to figure out what really happened. You and me both. Nothing in this case makes any damn sense. I'll be honest, I could really use your help in trying to figure this out. Honestly, you're not sure who you can trust at this point, but the commander is leading the investigation, and he's bound to have information that's useful. Trouble seems to follow you wherever you go. Okay, I've seen this. I see you're still working with the mage girl. I have a name, you know. Save it, sweetheart. You may have fooled everyone else, but we've seen today what mages like you are capable of. Well, lucky for you, Celeste and I are here to aid you. Yeah. Just tell her to keep her magic under control. We need answers, not more fireworks. Man, Steelwind has gotten herself in the middle of a real mess this time. I know this whole situation is unbelievable. Yeah, none of it makes sense. Dang, Steelwind just can't catch a break for the past 2 episodes. Stabbed, framed, what's next? Pierce got offed too, huh? Not that it changes much. His execution was scheduled for next month anyway. It's clear she has many conflicting emotions about what happened. When this is over, you should take her somewhere to help her take her mind off of things. So Lloyd's actually dead. Honestly, I'm not gonna lose any sleep over him. Serves him right after what happened to Justin Way. Yeah. I just noticed he has a little chip in his armor here. And you can't see it unless you, like, take off the text box, you know? Even so, a dangerous murderer is on the loose. Neither of us can relax until we catch them and put them away. You're always working, huh? Can't believe someone just offed Sybil. Family's responsible for the justice system. Met her before? Only in passing. And when I did talk to her, she always says some cookie things about the universal balance or some kind of hooey like that. She's dead now, by the way. Frankly, I could never understand a word she says. Same. This whole situation is a damn mess. Has the Inquisition found any clues about to explain what happened? We only have the basic stuff so far. We've only just received the autopsy reports. That's still pretty useful. Have any copies of them? Sure. Okay. Hey, shot of frozen liquid. Okay, whatever. Yeah. Whew. Floating. Oh, whoa. Damn. Whew. Wait, Pierce was killed with a frozen blade. Isn't that similar to how he killed Flintheart? Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to. No, it's okay. It's still strange though. Why would the murderer kill Pierce using such a convoluted method? If Steven really was affected by Mage Blight, She would have done something like that. Wouldn't have, you know? Yeah. Anyways, the time of death seems to also tell a story. If you look at the reports, the murderer must have killed Lloyd, Sybil, then Pierce in that order. Yeah, that's our working theory too. Ah! Thinking time! Okay then. If we look at this map, you can see where the prayer room and the common room are. Really? Okay, whatever. Lady Sybil's body was found in the lake west of here. But since the Grand Cathedral was built on a cliff, there isn't an easy way to get there in such a short amount of time. So that raises my next question. How did the body end up in the lake? Okay. The cathedral was built on the cliff over the lake, and the westward balcony just happens to be right over it. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. We even have a witness who saw Steelwind there. Really? Who was it? High Speaker Theon Arceus. Arceus? High Speaker? Hey, isn't Arceus the one who... that Pokemon who's basically God? He's the shock hall of the Church of Bahamut, and he stands at the top of the religious hierarchy from what I hear. He spotted Steelwind near the west balcony and noticed she was acting suspiciously. He called out to her, but she ignored him. So she knew that he saw her, but didn't attack him. Yeah, really lucked out. But if she was having such a psychotic episode, she wouldn't have noticed that. From what you said, all she did was ignore him. You're right, this whole Mageblight story doesn't really add up. Either way, we just have to talk with him directly to find out more. Putting that aside, there's something else that's strange. What's that? It's about the order the murders occurred in. Yeah, what's so strange about the murders? Okay, yeah. Lloyd, Sybil, and Pierce. That means the murderer went to the common room, then the west balcony, and then the prayer room. But if we look at the map, the route seems strange. The murderer must have passed right by the prayer room before they dumped Sybil's body. Why wouldn't they just murder Pierce on the way there? Maybe they wanted to dump Sybil's body first. Do you know how hard it is to kill someone while carrying a body on you, you know? Or they were afraid of fighting me. Aren't you giving yourself a little too much credit? Don't test her, man. Don't. No, she has a point. Out of everyone who fought the murderer, Celeste was the only one who didn't die or fall comatose. Comatose, whatever. There has to be a reason why the murderer deliberately chose that route. Okay, you created a rough outline of the murderer's actions, but the real clues will lie in how each of the individual murders occurred. And that starts with learning how Lloyd died. How did the Inquisition find out about the murders? Did a witness come across the bodies? It all started when I was born. When Prince Alaric ran up to us. He told us he saw a fire breaking out of the common room. He also saw Steelwind there, but when he tried to talk to her, she hit him with some kind of spell. She attacked one of the princes? Yeah, but it didn't look like she hurt him. That guy from House Asclepius inspected him, and he told us he wasn't injured. I'm glad he's okay, but wouldn't Arya have used a more violent spell if she was being affected by mage blight? It's possible she was throwing spells randomly, and he just happened to get really lucky. Possibly. But was there anyone else nearby? I would have expected a Prince of Wyvern to be under constant guard. Yeah, that was kinda my mistake. I ordered the knights to give him some space considering what just happened. And that would be? Sorry kid, if you don't know, it's not my place to tell you. I have orders from the top to stay quiet about that. Huh, looks like you need to ask someone higher up. Strange though. Why were all these nobles gathered here? Anyways, whatever the perp hit him with, it only put him in a daze. He could barely walk or talk. He couldn't even approach us until the spell worn off. And the weird part about it, he was pretty close to where we were. But for some reason, we didn't find him until after the spell wore off. Must have been traumatic. Hope he's okay. But why didn't anyone see him during this time? After he told us what was happening, we went to put out the fires. That's where we saw a bunch of guards knocked out outside the prayer room. Did you see me? No, this all happened around 3:10. Right. Probably well after Sealwind moved to the prayer room. Celeste must have already followed her into it. When you arrested Steelwind, I recall you mentioning a bunch of guards went comatose. Did the murderer use some kind of spell to knock them out? I don't know. I don't think so, and I'm just as lost as you are about that. Some of the victims didn't have any magical traces on them, so we know they weren't under the effects of a spell, but they still haven't woken up. That's odd to say the least. Is there any common thread between the knights who fell comatose? That might help us deduce what happened to them. We found them in the locations where Steelwind was spotted. That can't be a coincidence. But he just admitted they weren't being affected by any kind of spell. What's going on? Commander White, you're saying the perp is at a Steelwind, even though everyone else seems to think she was responsible for this. Do you suspect she's being framed? Just doesn't add up. If she did give herself Mage Blight, her actions wouldn't have been so deliberate. And she's definitely not the type of person to just go around murdering people. Even if she was, she led a lot of the Inquisition investigations recently. She's investigated plenty of homicides with us, and she knows exactly how we do things. Whoever did this got the job done, but they were sloppy. A bunch of witnesses saw her. She didn't even try to hide herself using magic. So either she had Mage Blight, which doesn't match with her behavior, or she did this intentionally and wanted to get caught. Or maybe it was the handcuffs? Huh? Neither scenario makes any damn sense. Someone has to be framing her. That's the only reasonable explanation. Honestly, I'm not sure about that either. What do you mean? You saw her when we arrested her, right? She wanted us to lock her up. It's like she thought she was a danger to herself and everyone else. That's the same impression I got. If it weren't for the witnesses' statements, I'd be sure she gave herself Mage Blight. The strangest thing is that I've never seen her that scared before. Something really rattled her about what happened. Did you follow up on what I said about Beatrice? I know she was in the room when Pierce and I fell unconscious. She has to be involved in this somehow. Well, she's already in prison, so we're already ahead on that account. But when we asked her what happened, she said she couldn't remember anything. What a blatant lie. She has to be hiding something. Normally I agree with you, but she's not the only one with missing memories. Steelwood also can't remember anything. What? Looks like you'll have to speak with her about that. Anyways, what about her and the knight who's guarding her? Did they see anything? Sorry kid, but Eris Ilmater has been missing since everything went down. What? Any idea what happened to her? No, but I wouldn't be too worried. What? A witness to the crime is missing and possibly hurt. Look, kid, you may be a hotshot attorney, but I've been in this business a lot longer than you have. Sometimes, when these things happen to civilians, they get spooked and run away. I've seen it a million times. I feel like he's not making a big deal of this as he should be. Even though Orin White is right, it is Eris we're talking about. And we know how much of a sussy baka she is. But he might have a point. Eris is the daughter of a crime lord after all. She might have gone into hiding to avoid having to speak with law enforcement. We don't have the resources to look after her, but I'm sure she'll turn up eventually. Yes, she will. Unfortunately. Well, suppose we can't do anything about that now, but I hope she's okay. I don't. I hope she's dead, but she's not. Anyways, what about the knight guarding Beatrice? Surely he didn't go missing as well. That's the thing. The knight who was supposed to be watching her is one of the knights who went comatose. Found him in front of the prayer room too. What happened to him? To make matters worse, that Freyga chick knows how to cast invisibility. So even if she was telling the truth, very few people would have actually seen her. But her guard was in front of the prayer room. She must have brought him there somehow. Anyways, would you happen to have a recent version of her spell compendium? Sure, here it is. Feign death? Feign death? Right. I forgot how many spells she knows how to cast. It's all a little difficult to take in. I still can't believe it. After everything he did, Leloid was just killed. I'm surprised to hear that from you. Didn't he basically get away with offing Justin Way? The way I see it, he got what he deserved. Yeah. That still doesn't sit right with me. No matter who the victim might have been. No one deserves to die like that. You're definitely a bigger man than I am. Anyways, Leloid's autopsy report says he died of suffocation. I think the murderer overpowered him and choked him with a rope or something. That hardly sounds like something someone would do during a psychotic episode. Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? Have you not seen the end of Evangelion? What Shinji did to Asuka at the end of the movie, okay? Sure, buddy. Yeah, the more info I get, the more I think you might be onto something. But either way, the fire the perp started in this room burnt his body. Didn't turn completely into ash, but still pretty charred. Seems the fire would have burnt away any evidence of the minor wound he had. Oh, yeah. We're lucky we even discerned he was hit with an evocation spell. Ah, yeah. The report mentioned that too. But if a fire was started, is it possible he died from smoke inhalation? No. The divination spell we always use always identifies smoke as death by poisoning, not death by suffocation. I suppose that kinda makes sense, but it's still a shame we can't find out how the murder suffocated him. We still know very little about how the murders occurred. Do you have records of each of the victims' spell compendiums? They might help us understand what each of the victims was doing during the attack. Sure, knock yourself out. Yeah, okay. Okay, foresight, okay. Mend wounds, okay. Huh. How much of this do I have to go through? I honestly don't care. Okay, this is pretty cool. Okay. 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 Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. Slow fall. Okay. Okay, wow, that's a lot of spells. Yep, that's what happens when a bunch of mages are caught in the middle of a murder. Honestly, you've been lucky until now. Nevertheless, I'll need to look over each of these spells when they become relevant. No, I don't. I hope. Okay. Come on. Yeah, it's been going for a while. No one noticed it until... okay, whatever. Oh, jeez. I forgot what red is, but damn. There are traces of evocation magic in a bunch of different spots around the room. We think the perp threw a bunch of fire-based evocation spells around to start the fire. And the Kingsguard used a bunch of water-based evocation spells to put out before the fire spread. That makes sense. With that knowledge in mind, there's nothing out of the ordinary here. What's this white thing, though? Abjuration magic. Do the traces overlap with the body? Kinda. It's sorta square-shaped. Square-shaped. Can't see the traces, but there also seems to be a square-shaped outline around the body. You're right. They perfectly overlap. The area inside the square is a lot less burnt now that I look at it. I'm not sure what this means yet, but it's definitely worth taking note of. Okay. Okay, yeah, I kinda see it now. You think you found everything you can relating to Lloyd's murder. Perhaps you should move somewhere else. Shoot. Shoot! Come on. What's in the garden? I don't like that music. It is firing off danger signals for me, okay? This is a red flag. You arrive at the cathedral's garden and come across the accursed statue again. It's staring into my soul. Really? Maybe I don't feel it because I don't have one. Then stop looking at it! As you move your attention away from the grotesque sculpture, you spot the Crown Prince. He's sitting on a bench, guarded by some knights from the King's Guard. His brow is furrowed, and he seems to be deep in thought. Oh, Mr. Cuthbert! And Miss McCoy, too. What are you doing here? We're trying to investigate what happened. We're looking around, when we just happened to find you here. I see. You alright? Yeah, I was just thinking how unfortunate this ordeal has been. Yeah, both his ex and his wife has been arrested, okay? And it's on the same day as his wedding. That's just tragic, man. I do hope Miss Steelwind is taking this well. Right, she is his fiancée after all. I think there was a promotion and then a demotion, okay? I mean, prisoner is a demotion from fiancée, I think, or wife, was it? He must be extremely worried about her. We're trying to find out what exactly happened. Do you mind if we ask you some questions? I see. Well, I'll do whatever I can to help. Oh boy. This whole situation's quite a mess. I do consider myself lucky that you're here, Mr. Cuthbert. I appreciate your trust, but I still can't make sense of what I found so far. Well, if anyone can find it out, it's you. Damn straight. I'm glad you were with Mr. Cuthbert when the assailant struck, Miss McCoy. Who knows what would have happened if you weren't there? Die. Tyrion would have died. In fact, that would have happened a long time ago. Never mind. No, I failed completely. I let the murderer get past me. They could have killed Tyrion. You can't keep blaming yourself for what happened. We're both safe now. That's what matters. Yeah. I can't believe Miss Steelwind is being blamed for this. Although, I can't fault the King's Guard for that. Right, there were several witnesses who saw her, and Celeste's testimony shows it wasn't someone else, magically disguised as her. I hope she's doing okay. You and me both, buddy. Lloyd's actually dead, and I just saw him this morning too. Yeah, despite my feeling about him, no one deserves to be killed in cold blood. If there's some silver lining, it's that he can no longer harm people with his negligence. He must still be thinking about Justin Way. I can't believe someone killed Lady Sybil. I mean, she does have a very punchable face. I'ma be real. Did you know her well? Quite well. We had many debates about how her family ran the judicial system. I found them quite frustrating. After speaking to her, I can understand what you mean. You said that you two were investigating the murders. You weren't planning to defend Miss Steelwind, were you? If she would have me, she may be a competent prosecutor, but I have far more experience defending clients. Unfortunately, I think the situation is more complicated than that. What do you mean? Several house leaders died today. We can't release this information to the public. Not after the news of William Frager's death has already spread. You know, I just realized that in the last episode, I talked about how convenient it is. Yeah. Looks like Ares beat me to the punch. In the course of 2 months, we lost not one, but 3 of the Pillar families. But the trial has to happen soon, or else the magical traces left will disappear. From what I've heard, we will be holding a trial, but it will be handled privately and internally. And I'm sorry to say, you won't be permitted to serve in such a trial. Right, a majority of the nobility hates me after all. You wouldn't be able to pull some strings, would you, Aster? I'm sorry. I'd like nothing more than to give you the opportunity to represent her. But I clearly have a personal attachment to this case. If I try to tip the trial in her favor, it will only harm her chances more. Right, I see what you mean. But even if we can't help her during the trial, we can still investigate the crimes on her behalf. Yeah, I would truly appreciate that. If new evidence is found, perhaps we can exonerate Miss Steelwind of the charges against her. What does that word mean? I'll just Google it later, I guess. I don't know. After everything that's happened, I really need to know. Why were so many nobles gathered in one place anyway? All 4 of the Pillar families were present. Why? I understand if you don't want to tell me, but this information could be vital in finding out what happened. No, I see your point. The truth is, we're all gathered to mourn the death of my father, King Oliver de Wyvengard IX. Oh, I was really off about the marriage thing, huh? Ooh, I feel awkward now. Wait, the king is dead? Yeah, we wanted to avoid releasing this information to the public so close to the death of William Frege. My father has been ill for quite some time, so we were prepared for this. Or at least, I thought I was. We're gonna need a lot more funerals. I also lost my mother when I was quite young. Yeesh. But it was still all a little hard to take in. I'm sorry. You have my condolences. Thank you. But if King Oliver is dead, that will make you... Yeah, you stand before King Aster de Wyvengard, ruler of our kingdom. He ain't happy about that, obviously. Considering everything that's happened, he seems less than thrilled about that. I suppose that explains why all the nobles were gathered. They came under the guise of paying their respects. But it's clear they all wanted to get closer to the new King of Wyvengard. I think the Fregas were the only ones who genuinely came to give their condolences. Speaking of the Fregas, I think you need to know. I saw Beatrice before I was knocked out. Hey, I'm just a messenger, okay? Don't kill me, please. Don't hurt me, please. I think she may have been the one that killed Garrick Pierce. Why would she be there? Oh, he's pissed. And scared. I'm sorry. I know she's your... ex... and friend, apparently? Huh? Okay. But we already knew she is not above committing murder. I see. I suppose if you're saying it, it must be so. But what possible reason would she have to be involved in something like this? I don't know, but I had to find that out. I had to find out, yes. By the way, where were you during the murders? I remember you left with Steelwind when Celeste and I arrived at the cathedral. Ah yes, Steelwind and I left to speak with High Speaker Arceus in his headquarters. Arceus, really? What was your meeting about? It was actually about our wedding. Okay, I was half right. Okay, a third right. A quarter right, okay? A quarter right. 25%. 20%. At least. With my father's death, Lord Steelwind wanted to make our union official. Oh! I will congratulate you two, but considering the circumstances... Understand, and I appreciate your words nonetheless. Anyways, how long did this meeting last? I believe we spoke with him until 1:40 p.m. But Leloy died at 2:05. That means she began her rampage less than half an hour after that meeting. Was there anything off about her behavior? Now that you mentioned it, something about her demeanor changed. We were speaking at the wedding, wedding, when she abruptly left. I asked her where she was going, but she ignored me. That sounds similar to what happened when Celeste fought her. There's no way she was affected by Mage Blight. That's one hell of a marriage meeting. I'm sorry, Aster. I honestly didn't think much of it at the time. Why? Why didn't you at least go up to her and say, hey, what's going on? Or something like that. You just let her off? Yeah. I mean, if she went to the toilet, she would be running. But she's walking. And she didn't answer your questions, and you... Oh. I see the judge ain't the only dumb one here. I'm actually used to her giving me the cold shoulder. Okay, if you say it like that, then fine. Right. Hey, you know what it's like to be a guy, right? Actually, you don't. You're a girl, right? What's on my mind will get me swatted, okay? So I should not say what's on my mind. It's possible that the steel wind the witnesses saw wasn't actually real. Does that mean the steel wind that attended the meeting was also a fake? You'll see. Anyways, what happened after your meeting with the High Speaker, Arceus, from Pokemon? Did you see Steelwind after that? Actually, I found myself caught up in something else entirely. At 2 p.m, I went to pay my respects at my father's coffin. But apparently someone has set a magical trap there. What? It was a glyph of contingency. What does it do? Yeah, I don't know. I have heard of that spell. It's like a trap you can set, and you can infuse any spell to it. But it requires a second contingent spell to place that trap. Which spell was it? It was Force Cage, targeting me. Was the murderer trying to attack Aster too? I don't think so. They would have used a more lethal spell if they wanted to. But from the sounds of it, Force Cage can't be dispelled. So Aster would have been trapped inside of it for a full hour. We think the murderer used this as a distraction. Because of that trap, the King's Guard consolidated most of their attention and forces on my location. As a result, there were few people guarding Lloyd, Sybil, and Pierce. Why guard Pierce, though? And the ones who were there were all fell comatose. I hate that word so much. Can't even pronounce it. They can't tell us what happened to them. And yet another inexplicable event is added to the list. It's just a series of unfortunate events, bro. After everything you learned, you highly doubt that Steelwind was affected by Mage Blight. So someone must be behind what happened. But who? Anyways, it seems he told you everything he knows. He probably didn't witness much after he was trapped by the force cage. You should move somewhere else and follow your other leads. What goes to the tortured mind of this creature? What is it with you and this statue? I don't know, but I can feel its emotions as if it were my own. It's an inanimate object, Tyrion. I mean, technically, okay, that's a bit, no, okay. Wait a minute.
Repario Arcanum.
Okay, no magic. You arrive at the west-facing balcony of the cathedral. Supposedly, this is where the murderer threw Sybil's body into the lake. Oh, hello there, General Kenobi. As you inspect the area, you catch the attention of an old man nearby. Should I be wary of him? I think I should be wary of him. Okay? He's a priest, a grand priest. He is Arceus, okay? And this is an anime setting, okay? You know, priests are the equivalent of villains, okay? The basic... Yeah. I got my eye on you, you realistic-ass looking, guy. From his garb, he appears to be someone who works at the cathedral. I don't believe we met before. What are you doing here? Sorry for the intrusion. I'm Tyrion Cuthbert, attorney of the Arcane, and this is my bodyguard, Celeste McCoy. We're investigating the murders on behalf of Prosecutor Steelwind. Tyrion Cuthbert. I've heard of you. He doesn't look nearly as criminal as I expected him to be. Judging from his thoughts, he hasn't heard many good things about you. But forgive my rudeness. I am Theon Arceus, High Speaker of the Church of Bahamut. How old is... Oh, 81. Damn. So you're the one who saw Steelwind here during the murders. Do you mind if we ask you some questions? Is that a yes or a no? He scans you warily. I suppose there would be no harm in that. So you have heard of me? I have. He's not what I was expecting. You shouldn't believe every story you hear from the aristocracy. I don't know what you mean. You shouldn't... Man, is Tyrion even hiding it anymore? I can't believe Lady Steelwind would do something like this. But I can't really doubt what I saw with my own eyes. Why was she acting so strangely? There was more to this than we're seeing, and I'm going to get to the bottom of it. For her sake, I hope you're right. Did you know Lord Pierce? He's one of the victims. I didn't know him well. Not to insult House Pierce, but he wasn't a noble of high standing. I never had many opportunities to speak with him. Do you know Lloyd? He's the House of Lloyd. House of Lloyd, okay. Yes, I know him very well. We often work together in matters of enterprise. Why would the church need to discuss matters of enterprise? Perhaps I already said too much. You know Coraline Sybil? She was one of the 4 pillar families. I did. It's quite unfortunate what happened to her. Of the 4 families, I feel like Sybil was one of was the one most loyal to the church. You decide not to voice your discontent for House Sybil. Forgive me if I'm being rude, but what is a high speaker? They speak on a higher plane, I guess. I don't know. Or maybe they just stand above everyone else and they speak. And since they're above everyone else, they are high. Or they are high while they speak, I don't know. You seriously don't know? How ignorant are you? Okay, that's a little rude. The Church of Bahamut seeks to honor and revere the Scaled Lord Rathalion. We are all called to spread the word of his greatness throughout Wyvengard. The High Speaker leads the church through this mission. We heard you saw the prosecutor acting strangely here. Could you tell us more about what you saw? Did it look like she was having a psychotic episode? I wouldn't go that far, but she was certainly acting strangely. How did you come across her? While I was on my way to the prayer room. I always recite prayers from the Draconic texts around that time. Wait, he was heading to the prayer room? When I saw her, I first thought she was just enjoying the view of the lake. When I was about to greet her, but when I approached her, I saw she was throwing something off the edge of a balcony. Huh. You must have seen her dumping Sybil's body. You're probably right. I came to the same conclusion after they found the poor woman's body below us. Although... What is it? I only saw it for a second, so perhaps I'm wrong. But Lady Sybil was wearing much brighter colors this morning. Whatever Lady Steelwind threw in that lake, it looked much darker. What does that mean? It's a fake. I'm sorry, I can't really explain it. Perhaps I was just seeing things. My eyes aren't as good as they used to be after all. It could have just been a trick of the light. Wait, if you saw Arya dumping Lady Sybil's body, she must have just murdered her. That means you must have been heading to where we were at that time. Oh? Were you praying there with Lord Pierce? No? What? That's not what the guards told me. The guards? Do you mean the ones standing watch outside the prayer room? Yeah, they told me Pierce was praying with some acquaintances of his. They said the same thing to Lady Steelwind as well. Wait, Steelwind was there too? Yes, she appeared to be waiting for something. But anyways, I didn't want to disturb them, so I went back to my quarters to pray there. The High Speaker didn't see her fighting Celeste. She must have started her attack after he left, but why would she bother waiting? Either way, we can't exactly question those guards. Yeah, they're still comatose after the attack. Yeesh. Actually, the High Speaker's quarters aren't that far away from the prayer room. How did you not hear anything? Must be because of the magical wards in my room. Magical wards? For security? Not really. I actually suffer from chronic insomnia. Even the smallest sound will wake me up at night. Sounds like my brother. Years ago, I had some mages enchant the walls so sound couldn't travel through them. I couldn't hear anything from outside once I shut my door. That does sound awfully convenient, but you doubt he'd lie about something you could easily verify. Either way. Yes, soundproof room. Hey, can I borrow that room later? And Celeste, follow me. The balcony provides a perfect view of Lake Galacrond. A lot of people come here when the Grand Cathedral is open to the public. Debris. You pick up one of the pieces and feel it in your hands. It appears to be gravel. Or something. I don't know. You can see... I can see a military stronghold in the distance. Where? No, I don't see it. They must be able to see a lot from that high up.
Repario Arcanum.
There are traces of transmutation on the pieces of this debris. That would imply a spell specifically targeted or created whatever this came from. Oh, it's the earth arm thingy, right? Yeah, but I doubt someone created these bits of gravel. It must have been broken off of something else. Yes. You believe you found everything you can here. Perhaps you should move somewhere else. She attacked, it's Alaric, the little brother, right? She attacked a member of the royal family and killed several nobles. What else is there to investigate? The laws are clear about what we must do. We should execute her immediately. You little shit. Alaric, this situation is far too important to make such a rash decision. We need to approach this calmly and carefully. As you return to the nave, you spot the young prince in an argument with the nobleman you saw earlier. Now that you think about it, you still have no idea who he is. Oh, it's you two. You. And I don't think we've been introduced. What? I see you're still as insolvent as ever. You stand before Sir Remus Virgili, Archduke and Royal Visor to the Wyvern throne. I believe he means advisor. Wait, what did he say? Advisor? Oh, Royal Visor. Yeah, sure. Oh, so he's an advisor. Okay. Virgile. I'm just gonna call him Virgil from Devil May Cry 5. Archduke? I didn't even know the Kingdom of Ivengard had a title like that. Okay, why haven't you ever heard of him before? Why are you two still here anyway? I thought the cathedral was closed for the investigation. Maybe since his name is Virgil, you know, maybe I should speak like Virgil. We're investigating what happened on behalf of Prosecutor Steelwind. I see. Anyways, I have much to attend to, so I'll be taking my leave. You sense a tinge of anxiety. Where's your motivation? Is he avoiding you? Maybe. Actually, since we have you here, we have some questions for you. The both of you. Humph, you should know your place, knave. Every time I see you, something horrible ends up happening. It's as if you bring trouble wherever you go. At this point, it might be true. He's like... It's as if he's the main character of some anime or some video game or something. I doubt it's that. My occupation just puts me in these positions. So you go around looking for trouble then? Well, he's not wrong. I can't believe Lady Steelwind would do something like this. You wanted her dead earlier, you little After everything my brother has done for her, this is how she repays him. There's more to this than we're all seeing. She can't be responsible for this. We'll see. Pick a side, man. Come on. Out of everyone, I think my brother has gotten the worst out of this. Yes. He has to choose between protecting his fiancée or convicting her. Woo, what the f... Oh man. High speaker jump scare, man. I can't imagine what's going through his mind right now. I hope he's okay. I can't believe I've gone this long without knowing who you are. Why haven't I heard of you before, Your Grace? His Grace does not see it fit to mingle with the poor people. He only concerns himself with the matters befitting of his station. Your Grace, where were you when the murders took place? Just what are you trying to insinuate? Please, Alaric, there is no need for that. To answer your question, I was speaking with Lady Frigger's, familiar. Tracker? No, the demon who calls himself Marinath, who is nothing to Sparda. What? Why would you want to speak with him? He was actually the one who that sent for me. According to him, he has some information that was of great import to me. You didn't make a contract with him, right? Of course not. What kind of desperate fool do you take me for? No, he gave me the information he had freely. But why would he do that? Because he lacks motivation. Demons are supposedly always trying to trick humans into making deals with them. Looking back, it must have been a distraction. What a fool I was. I knew he was playing with me. But I knew he couldn't tell lies, and the information he had was too important to ignore. If you don't mind me asking, what was the information about? I'm sorry, but I cannot reveal what he told to me. Was it how to get more motivation, or how to get more power? It was both, wasn't it? Or was it how to avoid paying child support? Yeah, it's that too, ain't it? It could endanger people that I care about. But rest assured, I doubt it has anything to do with the massacre. Your Grace, we only just met. I can't exactly take your word for it. I suppose that's fair. But believe me, the son of Sparda, when I say I plan to take this information to my grave. That's ominous, but he's clearly intent of keeping this conversation a secret. Anyways, several members of the King's Guard were watching us. They can verify my alibi. How long did this conversation last? I arrived to speak with them at 1:50 p.m. I didn't leave until 3:10 p.m. So he was accounted for during the time frame. But why would Marinath go through the trouble of distracting him in the first place? 'Cause he's a son of Sparda. Whoever orchestrated this also used Force Cage to trap Aster. Were they trying to distract the forces in the cathedral? Or were they trying to keep certain people out of the crossfire? Either way, it's clear that Beatrice has a lot to answer for. Your Highness, we heard the prosecutor cast a spell on you when you saw the fire in the common room. Can you tell us more about what happened? I can't believe she... Oh my god, I already saw this. She was completely irresponsible with her magic. Understand your feelings about this, but we can't say for certain she inflicted mage blight on herself. We don't even know if it was actually her. I saw her with my own eyes. I. Plenty of other people did too. Either way, where did this happen? It was on the path outside the common room. I saw smoke coming from the building, and I saw Steelwind walking away from it. So this must have been after she murdered Lloyd. I had a feeling I already knew the answer. But why was she behaving erratically? No, she deliberately cast a spell on me. This, which once again implies Mage Blight wasn't behind this. Do you know which spell? I'm not sure. I'd never been affected by a spell like that before. From the magical traces on him, we know that it was a transmutation spell. Transmutation means manipulate and change physical matter. It's scary to think about what they might do to a human body. Are you sure she's okay? Lord blah 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 inspected him, and he does not appear to have any lasting injuries. If he were son of Sparda, he would have healed right up. We're hoping the spell's effects were only temporary. Can you describe what you felt when you were affected by it? That might help us identify which spell it was. Well, I was extremely dazed and my ears were ringing. My vision was also partially blurred. It was as if my mind was in some sort of fog. Whenever I tried to speak, I couldn't even form words in my mouth. I could only make grunting sounds. I couldn't walk either, so I had to crawl on the floor. I'm sorry you had to go through that. Must have been traumatic. Sounds like a transformation spell, you know? Had to be something that affected his senses. You already told us she wasn't acting erratically, but was there anything off about her behavior? I only saw her for a moment, but she was definitely different than usual. She was completely emotionless. Yeah, that's exactly what she was like when I fought her too. It was like she was an arcane construct. Her movements were almost robotic. Wait, are there any arcane constructs on the cathedral grounds? No, not for the lack of trying on Leloid's part. The High Speaker and I have specifically forbidden the staff from using them here. It would have been really convenient if all this was done using a construct. Although, you are a little tired of seeing them in your cases. Anyways, was anyone else around when Sealwind cast that transmutation spell on you? No, she moved away quickly after she incapacitated me. And even if someone was around, I don't think I could have seen them anyway. Commander White also said he was surprised no one saw the prince until the spell wore off. What happened to him? That covers Alaric's account of what happened, and we even got Virgil's statement too, from Devil May Cry 5. Devil May Cry. Whatever. But there's still one last person we need to speak to. Arya. She and Beatrice supposedly had no memories of what happened. If it were only Beatrice saying that, I'd probably doubt it. But if Steelwind also doesn't have any memories, it becomes a lot more credible. She definitely has the missing piece. We need to put this together. Are you going to the dungeon to speak with her? I am. Wonderful. I will be accompanying you. What? As the royal advisor, I have a vested interest in this investigation. While I trust Lucio to leave no stone unturned, I hear you have quite a talent for seeing what the crown cannot. Well, it's not as if we have the authority to stop him, but you still don't know him very well. You need to be wary of what you say in front of him.
Repario Arcanum.
You arrive at the dungeon and see the prosecutor sitting in a holding cell. She seems extremely stressed. It's as if she's trying to figure something out. Yo. Mr. Cuthbert, and your grace. Steelwind gives a wary look at the Archduke, whatever. What are you doing? As best as I can. All things considered. What brings you here? We're trying to investigate everything that happened. I see. Why are you scared? I'm helping you. I was wondering if you could help answer some of our questions. Steelwind, I know your situation is pretty grim right now, but you know you can trust me. You're not the person I'm worried about. At this moment, I don't even know if I could trust myself. Huh? I'm glad you are unharmed, Mr. Cuthbert. I was worried when I saw you next to Pierce's corpse. Ugh. Well, I definitely got the least of it. I should consider myself lucky. Celeste, I heard that I fought you during the massacre. I apologize if I hurt you in any way. Celeste? Sorry. This is just a lot to take in. A few hours ago, it really felt like you were trying to kill me. I won't fault you for feeling that way. I'm truly sorry. Is Orim working with the King's Guard to investigate what happened? He is. We actually got a lot of information from him. That's reassuring to hear. I suppose this is a good opportunity to see how well he works without my guidance. Do you ever stop working? I'm sorry to hear about what happened, Celeste. I can't imagine the lack of closure you're feeling right now. No, I don't care about that anymore. I'm just glad Tyrion is safe. I can't believe you lost so many house leaders in the course of a few months. Now my father is the only head of the 4 pillars that still lives. Only the strongest survive. Lord Steelwind is a father, so it would probably be best not to point out how suspicious that is. I'm relieved His Majesty is unharmed during the massacre. Whoever orchestrated this trapped him in a forest cage. They must have used him as a distraction while they went after their true targets. As callous as it is, I'm glad he wasn't their real target. I don't know what I'd do if anything happened to him. I can't believe I was forced to attack Prince Alaric. Don't feel too guilty. He's a little shit anyway. Regardless, he's much too young to experience something like that. Not wrong. We heard that you don't have any memories of what happened. Is that true? It is. No matter how much I try, I can't recall anything. What is the last thing you remember? I believe I was leaving my meeting with the High Speaker and His Majesty. After the meeting, I was planning to return to the nave to speak with my father, but I suddenly felt extremely nauseous. I thought some fresh air might help me feel better, so I went to the balcony. The one over Lake Galora? Whatever. The lake? Yes, that one. The last thing I remember was losing my consciousness as I looked at the lake. And did you cast any magic before that? No, I didn't. Are you sure you don't remember anything after that? I don't. All I remember is waking up to the sound of someone sobbing. It was Celeste. She was crying over your unconscious body, Mr. Cuthbert. Oh boy. I feel like we completely ruled out Mage Blight, so I doubt that's why you can't remember anything. Are there any spells that can specifically modify or destroy people's memories? It will certainly explain a lot of this. No, arcane spells can only affect the physical world, but throughout history, mages have attempted to develop spells that can affect the mind. There's no recorded history of any of them succeeding. But you're assuming that arcane spells are the only type of magic that exists. What? I think you observed it already. There are many magical creatures in this world that don't use arcane magic. Like me, the son of Sparta. Isn't that right, Mr. Cuthbert? Yeah. Huh? Does he know about the Eye of Horus? Heresy. I'm not sure what you're trying to imply. Don't take me for a fool. Several of my associates attended Frega's trial, and they all heard what the demon referred to you as. Heavensborn. If I learn that Lumina has anything to do with this, Your Grace, I'm not an agent of the theocracy. And even if what you're saying is true, I wasn't the one who manipulated Steelwind's memories. But I suppose you raise a good point. If something affected Steelwind's memories, it wasn't necessarily an arcane spell. In fact, it couldn't have been an arcane spell. It was definitely something else. You're probably right. Which proves that I'm responsible for the murders. What? You just said that you don't have any memories of what happened. Why are you so convinced that you're responsible for this? I told the Inquisition already. I saw Beatrice before I passed out. She's clearly involved in this somehow. There's more to this than you realize, Mr. Cuthbert. For the past few months, the Inquisition and I have been investigating a string of seemingly unrelated murders. During each of those cases, we were able to apprehend the perpetrator without issue. But there was always something off about them during questioning. The murderers were always abnormally gruesome and passionate, and each of the perpetrators said the same thing. They all said they had no choice. No choice. Cases like these have been occurring throughout Isengard, and very little connects the perpetrators to each other. All except one thing. Each of them acted as if someone had controlled them against their will. They're probably just desperate. Most murderers try to make excuses after they're caught. They could even be in complete denial. Orim said the same thing. These cases were far too similar for me to ignore. I wondered if they were telling the truth. Perhaps each of these murderers were committed by an unknown party. I don't have any concrete evidence, but I know I was getting closer to something. The purple man? The purple guy? What? Purple conspiracy? Is that a FNAF reference? Steelwind. I don't mean to be rude, but this sounds completely insane. You don't even have any physical evidence to prove these murders are connected. There's one piece of evidence, but it's hardly concrete. But it does tie each of these cases together. She takes out a small parchment from her pocket and shows it to you. It's a purple symbol. Several of the people we arrested had an item with this symbol on it. None of them could remember where it came from, or even what it was. But they all somehow knew it was called the Purple Mark. But there has to be an explanation for this. It could just be some esoteric whatever superstition we don't know about. If that's true, then ask yourself one thing. Where did I get this parchment from? You don't mean I found it in my pocket after I was properly confined? Whoever I've been chasing must have left it there to taunt me. For all I know, they could have controlled my body and forced me to draw this symbol myself. Either way, this all but proves the massacre at the cathedral. The cathedral is raided. Can't read now, whatever. The purple guy. I don't want to dismiss what you said, but this definitely won't hold up in court. Nor should it. If my mind has been compromised, I can't risk leaving this dungeon. Otherwise, I could end up harming more people. Wait, are you planning to spend the rest of your life in prison? If that's what's necessary to keep everyone safe. But what about Aster? Weren't you two supposed to be married soon? He's the king now. You can't rule Rivengard alongside him from a holding cell. You're correct, but he's always been a remarkable person. He should have no problem finding another suitress. No. If it ain't Arya, it's a downgrade. I mean, Celeste is mine, so... Celeste is Tyrion, so... You know. You feel an overwhelming sadness emanating from her as she says that. Arya... Ooh. No. What? You're not going to sacrifice everything for someone else's actions. Mr. Cuthbert, I'm not going to risk more lives. If I were to hurt His Majesty, I would never be able to forgive myself. Please don't ask that of me. Okay. Steelwood is gonna throw away everything she cares about for the greater good. Even if she was the one who did all this, she's not the one who's responsible. You can't let herself, give up. You can't let her give up on herself. Let's start the beef. Steelwind, are you seriously gonna throw your life away? If it were necessary, I would give my life for this kingdom. If someone controlled my actions today, they can and will do so again. A villain controls my mind, and as long as that's possible, I can't trust myself. But that's assuming this person can continue to do so. You said it yourself. You haven't found any evidence to prove your theory. We don't know how this mind control works, and we don't have enough information. We can't just drop this without finding out what really happened. I suppose you're right, but I doubt there was any goal to this. The person responsible was just a sadistic killer. Sure, I've been investigating these murders for months, and I've never been able to find any personal clues as to who the perpetrator is. There's no way to connect them to this. Whoever did this is a yeah, sure. That's not true, Steelwind. Whoever did this had very specific targets in mind. Both Prince Alaric and the High Speaker saw you when the murders were committed. Not to mention, they set a trap for Aster. What? Let's assume someone was controlling you. They wouldn't have left Alaric, Arceus, or Aster alive if they were trying to kill as many people as possible. I suppose you have a point there, but even so, that hardly narrows things down. If someone was controlling me, they would need to enter the cathedral to use me. The perpetrator didn't need to enter the cathedral to commit the murders. Perhaps you're right, and the perpetrator only wanted to murder 3 victims. There are plenty of people who might want to see those 3 dead. There's one thing you're overlooking. Before the murder started, someone trapped Aster within a force cage using that, yes. But they didn't harm him. It was all just a distraction. Oh, even so, this gives us 2 very important clues. The first is whoever did this is capable of casting those 2 spells. This means the perpetrator was a mage. That's true. But the second clue is the most important one. Whoever set the trap for Aster, they did so 24 hours. They did so within 24 hours of triggering it. This means that perpetrator must have been someone who attended the funeral. So it was one of them? That narrows down our list of suspects substantially. There's a chance we can identify who did this. And if they really did control your actions, we can find a way to prevent them from doing so again. Steelwind, you need to fight this. I can't. What? Why? Fighting this will put people in danger. If you pursue an individual like this, they might retaliate even more than they already have. They wanted to remove me from my position. How will they react if I try to resist? They might hurt even more people to send a message. It's far too dangerous. Whoever did this had a bigger goal. Had a goal far bigger than you, but you have no guarantee they'll stop there. 3 nobles died today, and 2 of them were near the top of the political hierarchy. What if they decide to go after more victims? Who will they target next? Your father? The king? Ah, press the button, right? Come on. We need to catch them before they can do more harm. I know you're frightened about what might happen to the people close to you, but we can't let someone that dangerous get away with this. When you put it that way, I suppose I have no other choice, do I? Yes. I never realized it before, Mr. Cuthbert. What? You really have a bad habit of butting your nose in other people's business, don't you? Yeah, I suppose I do. But you're right. We can't let this go. I'll find a way to dispute this somehow. Thank you, Mr. Cuthbert. I think we've known each other long enough. You don't need to be so formal. Yatta. Perhaps I misjudged you. I know I agreed to fight this, but what is it? You're the most qualified attorney in the nobility. You'll definitely be able to make a case for yourself. As you probably know, House Sybil controls the legislative and judicial branches of our kingdom, and they've nominated my father as the prosecutor for my trial. Huh? No one believes my theory of mind control. Everyone believes I overspent my magic and gave myself mage blight. As a result, they blame House Steelwind for Coraline Sybil's death. Now, the only way for him to redeem House Steelwind is to convict me and sentence me to death. But he's your father! There's no way he would... This isn't the first time something like this has happened. When I was a child, my mother accidentally overused her magic and induced mage blight within herself. In her resulting psychotic episode, she massacred an entire village of commoners. Whoa. No. House Steelwind almost lost everything after that. To redeem himself, my father personally oversaw my mother's trial and her execution. That's my father's value. My father values his duty to Wyvernguard over everything else. Nothing matters more to him than that. Not even his family. I want to have confidence in myself, but I don't know if I can face him like this. Mr. Cuthbert, what is your stake in all this? Huh? You hate the nobility, don't you? So why are you so intent on helping Miss Steelwind? Because she's innocent. I know she is. She would never be responsible to give herself mage blight. Whatever. Mr. Cuthbert, it doesn't matter if she's a noble or a commoner. She's being oppressed by the system, and she deserves a fair trial. Well said. Huh? Virgil, son of Sparda, hereby grants you the privilege to serve as Miss Steelwind's counsel. Huh? Really? I will be acting as the judge and arbiter of Miss Steelwind's trial. It is within my right to grant such permissions. Thanks. But why would you? Do you think I made a mistake? No, of course not. I will serve as Steelwind's attorney. If she will have me. Of course. There is no one else I would trust more with this. There we go. The genuine smile. You should do that more often. And please, you've done a lot for me already. You don't have to be so formal. Please call me by my first name. Celeste has already taken to doing that. But since you'll be defending me, you'll probably need this. Oh. Damn. Then it's settled. We will hold the trial at my home, the city of Leyden. Leyden? I never heard of that place. Speak with Lucio. He knows the location well. Really? Before you can ask more questions, the Archduke leaves without a word. He really has a bad habit of just walking away from conversations. Who is he, Batman? But I guess we should consider ourselves lucky. Even if it's unorthodox, the situation will let us approach this like any other trial. You have no idea what you're in for when you agree to this, and what proceeded next will be unlike any trial you've ever been in. But even so, you persevered as you've always done in the name of justice, regardless of what you'd have to sacrifice to do so. No. Okay, well, I mean, I kinda suspected it was mind control. Either that or, you know, like multiple arias, you know. Kinda reminds me of like Evangelion, like the third impact, but I can see it's not that, it's mind control. And it's Ares behind this, of course, but they don't know that, unfortunately. If they did, then the game would be over, you know? I think. Oh well. Yeah, this episode's a bit long, huh? But, hey. Next one's gonna be even longer, I guess. Next is where shit's gonna go down. I think. We'll just have to see, huh? Well, with that being said, thank you for watching my playthrough of Tyrion Cuthbert, Attorney of the Arcane. If you like what you see, stay tuned and stay awesome. Good night.